Present.
Mr. McLaren?
Present.
Mr. Nicholas? Mr. Altough? Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Tripp?
Present.
Mr. Vickery?
Present.
Mr. Washington?
Present.
Mr. Witten?
Present.
We have a quorum. Minutes for your approval from February 26th, 09. Are there any additions or corrections? Is there a motion to approve? Mr. James with a motion to approve, and Mr. Washington with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Under legislative report, Mr. Mentz has some information for us.
Good morning. Not on. Good morning. First of all, the UCCI will be sponsoring again in conjunction with the University of Illinois an educational program that I believe lasts 7 or 8 weeks, and they're accepting applications for that program right now, and it's been held down at Champaign, probably at Elton Park. We've had 2 people in the past, Sam Nichols and Bob Scholl, have taken advantage of that program, and if you're interested, please contact UCCI, and they'll make arrangements with the University of Illinois for someone to go there. Legislation, and I've talked about Senate Bill 138, sponsored by Senator Link in the past, and that building code that he's working on was eliminating single-family and duplex homes at this time, and with what he's asking for is being challenged, and he's working on the requirements and rearranging the requirements in the administration of the program. So it's not dead; it's still on the table. There was a fun time. And the next speaker that spoke at the UCCI last Monday was Josh Wigger. He's assistant to the governor and on the governor's staff discussing the federal stimulus package. And let me give you 2 websites before I get in and go on. He's got a website for the federal. It's presidentrecovery.com. And for the state, it's recoveryillinois.com. .gov rather, I'm sorry, recoveryillinois.gov, and you can get on those 2 sites, and supposedly it will lead you down the path of what you might want to find in the programs. However, he touched on various things, and I do hope I have them all pretty decently in order. One of them was job training. The Workforce Investment Act, and there's 26 workforce agencies in the state of Illinois, and they will receive $154 million. Community Development Program, which is for water and sewer. Small units of local government will get $8.5 million. Larger units, $38,500,000. There's a homeless stipulation in that stimulus package for homeless and low-income families, short-term rental assistance, and there's whatever applies to that, $29 million. Energy development, $130 million, and that part of the program is for the development of wind, solar, and other green projects to create energy. Another part of the program, energy efficiency, there's $118 million available, and some of those dollars may be eligible for counties and local governments to improve facilities for conserving heat and energy. There's a home weatherization program of $118 million for low-income families, with a threshold of income increased, I believe, to about 400% of the poverty level. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's up to 400%. Wireless and broadband stimulus money to get everybody on the website, $7,400,000. I've told you which ones are available. Supposedly, the University of Illinois, through their extension service program, extension services, are gearing up to help various local units of government to write grant applications for the stimulus money. So if you have something, you know somebody that's in the local government that needs a grant written, maybe the University of Illinois Extension Service can help you. And then they brought up the major bills on the income tax rates, and then that brought some eyebrows up in the air. The individuals within the governor's plan is 3.375% of taxable income. However, he's modifying that where you have a $2,000 exemption right now. He's going to move that up to $8,000, I believe, a $6,000 increase for the deduction before you start paying taxes. The corporate rate will be 5.4%. There's a House Bill 3987 on energy efficiency, and the chairman has copies of these bills if you want to take a look at them. Senate Bill 0043, prevailing wage projects, and that's up with the chairman also. Property tax extension, House Bill 493 and House Bill 252, because of the taxing situation at the local governments and the demand for services. They're trying to get away, not get away, but possibly one way or another raise those Patel exemptions. And again, your assessor and your supervisors and whoever's going to issue tax levies might be wanting to be looking at those bills. It's House Bill 493 and 252. And a couple of them are rather lengthy. I'm sorry, on that individual deduction is from $2,000 to $6,000. It's you get an extra $4,000 exemption on a footnote here. And in his package, the new budget, supposedly the governor's not going to cut any health care spending or any money going to education. Other than that, just one other fact number that the transportation in Illinois is going to get $936 million in revenue for stimulus. 28 million of that is for mandatory transportation enhancements. Areas of population over 200,000 people will get 203 million of it. Areas of 200,000 and less will get 60 million of it. Areas under 5,000 people will get 18 million. And there's $627 million sent out in limbo. They don't know where it's going to go yet. So basically that's all I have this morning. I have a copy of the governor's program, and if you want to have it, I'll leave it on file for you. Here are some interesting numbers in there. One of the things I made note of, and that I really don't understand how it can be, is on page 4 of this program. There's 12.5 million people unemployed in the United States. There were 600,000 people in February filed new claims, and I believe this morning that number was 624,000 more. Remember, I told you there was 12.5 million. On the recovery and investment program that's being proposed, there's $787 billion to jumpstart the U.S. economy. This will create $3.5 million new jobs. That doesn't say what happens to the other 9 million jobs that's on the list. That 3.5 million jobs may increase the because of the rule that was applied years ago. For every 7 jobs you create one new one. So you can take that and you might get another 1 million jobs, but then it's going to be a long ways from that 12.5 million jobs that are not filled right now. If you have any questions, I will gladly entertain them. One other thing is this stimulus package, I said, had a lot of time with Mr. Rieger, and he was a young man, and I think he did a fine job summarizing what was there. The UCCI members voted, normally it's a second big meeting in April. However, it was voted on that we would have a full board meeting in April, and anyone that would like to come to attend may come to listen to Mr. Rieger or whoever's going to represent the program in April. So if you're interested, please make arrangements to go, or if you need a ride, I'll gladly take somebody with me at 5 o'clock in the morning. 5:30 at the latest.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr.
George?
Yeah.
Morning, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ed, have you heard anything about a bill being introduced that would change the way the property tax caps?
Those are those Patel bills I was talking about.
Is that what it is, where
Yep.
there'd be a minimum floor of 2%?
Yeah, you'll have to get them up there. They're too
Okay.
lengthy for me to go through, and I'm not gonna
Okay.
understand them, but
Yeah,
there's
one
3
of
of
them
them.
would put a floor under the CPI adjustment in the tax cap formula of 2%. The concern is among taxing bodies is that the CPI for next year, for the coming tax year, is 1/10 of 1%, basically zero. And so there'll be no inflation adjustment at all in the tax cap formula for an adjustment to a levy outside of newly assessed property. I question whether that'll make it through the legislature, but that's my.
Okay, because I'm really concerned, because to mandate a floor is really bad, because nobody else has a guaranteed floor for wage increases. I think it's gonna, if it goes through, it's gonna drive more people out of their homes. Thanks.
Well, I think it was an effort to protect taxing bodies to some extent, because taxing bodies are hampered by tax cap calculations, but that's the argument.
But again, there's 3 bills, I believe, that the chairman has up there pertaining to the,
Okay.
Yeah, several adjustments to PTEL, one, and some adjustment on the truth in taxation notice requirements. A follow-up comment on what Ed said about the stimulus money, how much of it is coming back to Illinois in terms of the transportation dollars, and then how much of that filters down to the county and our area. This come out of Highway Committee, Mr. Tripp. One component of the stimulus money that flows to the counties is county roads only, not the urban area here, but just strictly county share. The county share, when it got down to us, is $400,000, so it's on that.
Maybe about a mile of road.
Well, a little more than that, but what Mr. Picardzik has designated to be our stimulus project for the county will be resurfacing the DeZellum Road running from 102 up to DeZellum. It's about 3 miles. That's it.
Yeah.
And don't mean to sound like sour grapes, but
It is.
this isn't going that far, as some people visualize. As far as the metropolitan area, the so-called MPO organization, the consortium of the county, the municipalities. Yesterday, that organization met and tried to hash out how to spend their $2.1 million. That's what the allocation is for stimulus money for that group. And the decision was to go with a single project. The next project in line, according to that process, is a construction of Burns Road on the north edge of Urban A. This would connect, this is a new road, it would connect 45 and end up over by the new school on Career Center Road. So that's been a targeted project for some time. They've been working on the planning and the engineering. The problem is $2.1 million will not build that road. It's going to take about $4.5 million. There's some limitations about how much local match can be put up on these projects. So the decision was to go ahead and let's build a third of the road, and we'll connect some of the subdivision roads in, and then the rest of that road would be down the road, a ways off in 2 or 3 years. So again, it's a little bit of frustration expressed on the part of the planners as to how these stimulus monies can be spent, because there's so many strings attached as to how you can do that. Ken wants to say.
One other comment, ladies and gentlemen, if you know of any agencies that might want to cooperate with KCCSI, they're going to be getting stimulus money through Illinois Department of Commerce, I don't know, DCOA or something like that. If you know a program or need an agency, why don't you go and have them visit with Vince Clark? Maybe Vince would be able to help you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on those topics? We'll move on. Information services, Mr. Duvall, do you have anything for us today? Nothing, okay.
Where's she at now?
I think in the future, I might ask Mr. Duvall, in terms of hardware and wiring and some of those things, he might report to the Building and Grounds Committee or Operations and Development Committee. He's always there anyway, and we always have issues with building and space needs and how that fits in with our IT department. So, but if he has some policy issues for us in the way of employee usage, things like that, then he probably needs to come and talk to this committee. Tear him 2 or 3 directions. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a question for Kevin. Do we have protocols for our websites? Because I've been going through some of the claims and I see that, public funds are being used for different department websites. And I don't know if the websites would be an extension. They're kind of like a virtual extension of county offices, so I don't know if we need to examine our protocol to make sure that the websites are consistent. So do we have any protocol in place on that?
Mr. Duvall?
Excuse me. The way that I've dealt with it, and we can look into it, this new administration can look into it, how ever wants to be addressed, is the website that you see, which is K3 County, and several other ones, the points that say one, is actually the administration's website. We're the backbone. We keep things going. We get the information on there. We don't provide the content. We don't dictate how it gets there. It's either that elected official or the board or the whatever. That's on your guys' level. What we do is help it get to that point. So as far as the mechanism that decides what's there, I don't know that that's my call. But if you guys tell me that you want us to do something, we'll implement whatever has to be done. So we basically do the hardware and the software that gets it running, but we've never dealt with the content. The way I've always looked at it is it's not the MIS department's website. We have no reason to have that website. It's the administration's floor. And then I'd work with the chairman, and the chairman would decide what that person wants on it. Really, I guess it's the county board's website at that point, because the administration is probably the administrative wing of the county board, I guess. That's how that works. As far as the sheriff or the recorder, I think is where you're going with that, because I heard your question. Yeah. When they do their own website, I don't have any power to come say anything. When you see like the sheriffs or recorders, that's not even here. That's somewhere else. So it's nothing that's outside of my control. When they do something that's on this web server directly, then we control it. We tell them what they can do, what they cannot do on there. So I don't know if that's answering your question.
Well, I guess my question is, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess my question is, maybe we need to look at protocol, and I'm not just singling out those 2 offices, because there's other offices, but as far as, maybe we should look at what other counties are doing as far as protocol to make sure it's consistent, and I don't even know if the, policies have been fully implemented, because it's, in a way, one could look at the websites as virtual extensions of the offices. So how do we handle where the people can access public records? Does it go through the administration website, just like they come into the administration building? You see what I'm saying? So I'm wondering if we just need to maybe review that and see what kind of protocols out there. It's just a matter of consistency.
I mean, I don't know if this answers the question. When they use the county website or the county board's administration website, we've always said they couldn't personally advertise for themselves and things, but that's not a written policy. That's always whoever the chairman would tell me that's how they wanted to proceed, and it makes sense to me. So we do that, but I didn't have anything written to go by, because that's not for my department to devise. I understand where you're going. You might want to have a policy that says what can and cannot be done on the website. I don't know that you perceive that you really have a problem. Usually everybody's been cooperative, but I guess that's your call, where you want to go with it.
Could we actually look and see if NACO has any guidelines on that?
We could check around.
I'm just thinking in terms of consistency, that's it, so.
Well,
thank you.
by consistency, you mean look and feel.
Well, look and feel to the extent that these are extensions of our offices. Not to agonize over it, but just to see what's out there, and see if there's any protocol. And, I mean, even if we're saying no personal advertisement, I think that's good that we're saying that, but I think that should also be written as well. It should be enumerated, in some kind of document. So that's, I guess I'm just looking at consistency here and seeing what NACO has out there, because the policy is evolving as we go along, so, thanks.
Just as far as look and feel, that I have looked into, and I know as far as you have a consistency, there is going to be the website. We've just been waiting to do some final closings on it. But as far as those elected officials, I know that we've looked into that. You cannot dictate what they're going to do, and if you look throughout the various counties, you'll see that it changes sometimes when you go to that person that is elected office. What we're going to do, and I'm addressing what you brought this up before as far as consistency look, on the new page, what we're going to do is everybody's going to come to a page that'll be one that we generate. Then if they want to link off of that, we'll link it, and that'll go to your point. At least when you get to that, we'll say there's 20 departments. All the 20 departments will have an interface that looks exactly the same. It'll list where their address is, their key information, and then we'll have a link that says their official website, if they have one, and they'll link off to that. But then we can't tell them what to do on that. That one I've looked into, but as far as the other one, I've already addressed that because I knew you wanted that, because that's no additional cost to do that. So hopefully that helps you.
Okay, we'll look around. Anything else, Kevin? No? Health Department, Bonnie is here.
I really don't have anything new unless anyone has a question.
Okay. Any questions for the Health Department? Mr. Vickery?
No, I was giving her that mic.
You were ready.
Just being accommodating.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have no one here from schools or Pledge to Life, so Veterans Assistance Commission, we have a monthly report before you. Mr. Campbell, do you have any comments or anything you want to point out?
Yeah, I'm glad. Go ahead. You want to take care of the report first, I think. It's in front of you.
Any questions on the report from the Veterans Assistance Commission?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Mr. Vickery, a second from Mr. Washington. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Campbell.
Another report. You know that we have an Illinois Lottery scratch-off grant. We have two of them. One is for $11,000 for eyeglasses and dental. Another one is for $30,000 for eyeglasses and dental and hearing aids. The $11,000 officially is over with. We have used that up. The $30,000, we're starting on that. And so far we've helped about 30 vets with dentures, eyeglasses, exams, everything. And we're starting on the hearing aids now. Okay, so that is a good program. I was just going to let Kevin know about what we had done about the VACs in the state organization that belong to the Illinois Association of County Veterans Assistance Commissions. And one of the things is that they want to have a website with an interactive map, and whereby you could touch Kankakee County and we would have our own website. I'm looking into that. And therefore that would be interactive with the county's website, I assume, right? I mean, I haven't started planning, but that's what we're talking about. So that would be something that we should be interested in. We're also interested in the homeless section out there at Mantino and others, setting up veterans homeless sites throughout the state. And we're interested in that. So I'm saying that's coming down the pike. Our people coming into the office asking for claims with the DA are on the increase, as well as financial assistance. And I think it's partly cyclical and partly the conditions as they stand today. And that's what I'm looking at. I have had great success with the Illinois Lottery scratch-off. I may be going after other grants, but luckily I have 3 members of that review board on the Illinois Lottery scratch-off who are members of the superintendents of the Veterans Assistance Commission of other counties. So maybe I have some inroads in that, but I'm not going to make any promises. So, but anyway, that's my report.
Any questions for Mr. Campbell? Thank you. That's all you do. Personnel and HR issues. We have a report from Mrs. Mack.
Good morning. Okay, I am here first of all for Nicole McCarty in Finance to report on the March of Dimes. She comes here every year to kind of give you some information about that. We're going to pass around some pictures just to give you a little insight of how tiny these babies are. And it's not very surprising, to be honest, that we have right here within our own county family several people that have either had premature babies or are grandparents, you know, of sons or daughters that have had them. So just so you have an idea of how tiny these little ones are. In the past, Nicole has come to you and told you about the March of Dimes affecting her and her family personally due to the premature birth of their own son. In the last year, nearly 400 residents participated in the Kankakee County Walk, and they raised $47,000 in our area, while $117 million was raised nationwide. Funds raised by March for Babies supports professional and consumer education for the prevention and the treatment of premature birth. The consumer education for the prevention, premature birth is the leading cause for newborn death, and of course we're all committed to reducing that toll. By engaging more people and educating more pregnant women and moms about healthy babies, we hope to reach that goal much sooner. According to the recent data, 1 out of every 8 babies is born preterm, which is defined as birth before 37 weeks. It really affects our area because the rate of preterm birth in Illinois is higher than the national average. And locally, Kankakee County has the highest preterm birth rate in the Northeast region outside of the city of Chicago. Kankakee County also ranks number 11 in the state of infant mortality rate, which is far above the state and national average. Besides those stats that Nicole has given you, she also wanted to talk briefly about the impact of prematurity on businesses. It can be a major financial drain for businesses, as 11% of newborns covered by employee health plans are born prematurely. The average medical costs for a preterm baby were more than 10 times as high as they were for healthy full-term babies. This is Nicole's fourth year in chairing the walk. She is captain of 2 teams, her own family team and of course the Kankakee County team. In 2006, which was the first year that she captained the county team, the county was recognized as the top new team for the Kankakee area, while raising nearly $1,100. Last year, the Walkers represented the county team raised $900 through Walker donations and funds raised through the Jeans Day that they do here. She wanted you to know that this year's Jeans Day is planned for Thursday, April 23rd. And our local walk area here is starting at Friendship Park on Sunday, April 26th. So thank you for your time, and if you want to make any donations or anything, please feel free to contact someone you know that's walking. That's all I had for that. Now, I guess the next thing I can talk about is the plan that we have going on right now for training in Kankakee County. And we are working on our anti-harassment training that needs to be done for the entire county. Our employees are starting to sign up for our training times. We're running in the month of June these trainings. And I'm here today basically to let you know that I'd like to see, we have 2 supervisor training times, June 1st and June 12th. They're 9 a.m. classes. They are about 2.5 hours long, but we need to get the board as well as all our supervisors through that process. So if you have a choice that you'd rather attend, whether it's June 1st or June 12th, if you want to let me know, I can sign you up for that class, and we'll get that going. Are there any questions on the training?
She's gently saying that this is not a request, this is
Mandatory.
it's a mandatory training. Sexual harassment is what the specific training.
No, it doesn't.
I
It's
would- We
anti-harassment.
struggle, that's why I struggle with what to put on the agenda. Kidding aside, this has got to hit every employee in the county, including part-timers as well as board. We decided the judges don't need to go through it because they don't actually work in the county. Otherwise, we would make them system.
What were the dates again?
June 1st or June 12th, 9 o'clock is the supervisor training.
This will probably be a program, we'll probably repeat this, every 4 or 5 years, we're guessing. It's not something we have to do every year, but we need to catch employees, get a cycle, and demonstrate that we're doing this every so many years.
It
Yes,
does
Mr.
nothing.
McLaren?
So this would this be open for board members as well?
I'm saying this.
That particularly is what I am
Good, 'cause I
favoring.
didn't want to mention a couple names here, but I get harassed quite frequently up here.
I was harassed earlier today already.
So, pick a date before rooms get crowded.
Yeah.
Did you mention we're,
No, I'm talking about George.
No, our class is going to be held out at the Sheriff's Department in their EOC room.
looking at another site across the road, and actually the library, but we haven't worked out the details on it. It'll be a nice location.
2 hours.
The classes are about 2.5 hours long. Depends on how many questions there are, of course. We have a wonderful gentleman from the Illinois Department of Human Rights that is coming down from the Chicago area to do our training.
Any questions? Okay, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Administrative issues, we have several reappointments and appointments to positions. First of all, we need to conduct an interview for one of these positions, specifically the County Convention and Visitors Bureau Board. And I see Mr. Brands here, our other candidate I don't see yet. I think what we want to do is enter closed session for the purpose of considering an appointment. And then we can talk and invite in one at a time. Mr. Brands and Mr. Bukowski will be coming in a little bit. So do I have a motion to that effect? Mr. Lear with a motion, Mr. Jess with a second. I think we need a roll call vote for that purpose.
Mr. Vasser?
Aye.